Okay, how are you?
Relax.
Well, welcome. I'll call this meeting to order. We have a fairly tight schedule today. We may lose a quorum and we have a full house, so it's probably going to get hot in here. We have Commissioner Castellini joining us virtually, so we'll be doing any voting today via formal roll call. So before we get into business today, we've got several speakers and we'll hold very tightly to the 2 minutes given our time frame today. So I'll ask you to help us with the timekeeping, please. And we've got first Cynthia McCarthy. Next up is Susan Foreman.
Morning, thank you. I'm going to read today, so I can use my 2 minutes. The best of my ability. I'm here to appeal to your sense of responsibility to our citizens and to our shared green spaces. In your position as park board commissioners, you have a fiduciary responsibility to manage our shared green spaces to the very best of your ability. Recently, I read about the Bradford pear trees on your Facebook page and how it turns out that although they are beautiful, they are invasive and they're taking over from the native plants environment. Now that we know that, we are changing our ways. Just like Maya Angelou said, when we know better, we do better. I ask that you look at the dog park plan for Burnett Woods in the same way as the pear trees. Now that we know that disrupting natural spaces by bulldozing, compacting, covering, and fencing not only harms the environment in the way it reduces natural biodiversity and takes away food sources and habitat, we know it creates a heat sink in an already heat-stressed urban environment, not to mention the toxic chemicals contained in fake grass. Putting resources into this small project that benefits only a few people not only harms the environment, but takes away from the larger whole. Resources for deferred maintenance, potholes, worn-out roofing, rotting picnic tables. It takes resources away from making what we already have ADA acceptable. Please stop. Please do not put this project out for bid until an environmental impact study has been completed and until you consult the people who live near and use Burnett Woods, just as you did for the people who live near and use the original proposed Dunmore site. The citizens deserve this pause. You've heard concerns and opposition from the Audubon Society, the Hillside Trust, the Sierra Club. 85% of the more than 900 people who responded to your question of how to make the dog park better said not to put it in Burnett Woods at all. There are 2 separate petitions, each with over 1,500 signatures, asking you not to install the plastic grass dog park in Burnett Woods. You have had hundreds of emails from citizens, scientists, professors, and UC students who are all opposed.
Sorry, that's fine.
Please stop the legacy of cronyism and favoritism and do what is best for the shared environment. Thank you.
And then next up is Linda Ziegler.
We have a lot of new people, the news from 2021, so I created a handout. Thank you. Jason, you're new.
Within your 2 minutes, Susan.
John, you are
Thank you.
new. Chick, you are new.
I got 2 copies.
Okay.
Sorry.
There's one for you.
Thank you.
Linda, you are also new, and I trust that. Sorry. Sorry.
Working.
I am also. Okay, so.
Yeah, no worries.
Finding out what happened with this dog park required a lot of research. I had to go back to a July 15th, 2021 video to figure out how this decision was made. Like many people, I had no idea this was going to happen. And I would just ask you to read what I have compiled. I think it speaks for itself.
Thank you, Susan. We have Linda Ziegler. And then next up is Peter Block.
I'm Linda Ziegler. I live in Clifton Heights. I am opposed to this dog park for the same reason that you will hear from these other people. But in particular, I think $450,000 is an obscene amount of money to build this new structure in the park that has so much opposition. And in particular, given the huge backlog of deferred maintenance in the rest of the system. So for example, about a mile south of Burnett Woods are Fairview and Bellevue parks. And they each have a beautiful overlook. You can see the entire city below. Both of those parks are in danger of falling off the cliff, literally. And I would think a better use of $400,000 would be to stabilize those structures in the hillside. And I'm pretty sure there would be no opposition to those projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Peter Block and then Sherry Frost.
Anyway, thank you for giving your lives to this foolishness. I like dogs. I like dog parks. They're healing, they're therapeutic, they're good for souls. It's just that we spent $8,000 CTM. I was a trustee of CTM for 6 years to make that entrance beautiful. And now it's going to have a carpet, a fence, and there's 14 dog parks in Cincinnati. So people care about that and the healing and the community building they are. They have 14 places to go. One last thing, in addition to what everybody else says, is that Bob Rack was a big advocate of the parks, if you know him. Helped sterilize deer instead of killing them. And he passed away yesterday. And I thought it'd be a nice memorial in a way to honor him by saying, let's not carpet over and develop another piece of Burnett. So thank you.
Thank you.
Here.
We got Sherry and then Susan Frank.
Hello, my name is Sherry Frost. Welcome to the park board. Sorry, you're coming in the middle of controversy. I believe love is the greatest force in the universe, and it's my love for parks that keeps me coming back here. I get really nervous public speaking. I don't like coming here, but I was raised in parks. My uncle was a naturalist at Laborda Woods. I grew up at Rapid Run. I deeply care about Burnett Woods. My friend Karana started a petition to help protect Burnett Woods that has, I believe, 1,600 signatures at this time. So I'm here in her memory. I homeschooled both of my children. So we grew up on with city parks and their programs, and we're very grateful for that. And now I have a little granddaughter, and I would really, really, really appreciate it if we could think about making Trailside Nature Center accessible for all students and all learners and their caregivers before we devote this big chunk of money to removing a green space. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Susan Frank and then finally Stan Heading. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Well, yeah, it is afternoon.
It is.
And first of all, thank you, commissioners, for all of you, Susie up there too, giving your time to our wonderful parks. Now, I am so opposed to the dog park in Burnett Woods. All the reasons that these people have given, if I could summarize, bam, 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 I would summarize everything they said. But one thing I wanted to ask, I know the survey that the park put out was responded to by at least 900 people. I've heard a lot more. Have you all seen all those responses?
We have seen all those. We've
Yeah.
had all of those.
And every one of
This is
you-
for discussion this season. This is just your public comment. So we welcome your comments.
Oh, okay, so I'm hoping that all commissioners, you've seen it and read, I know it's a lot of work to read 900 responses plus, but I think it's very important because these are the people that live there and live in the area, and their opinions to me, I live in East Walnut Hills now. But Burnett Woods has always been my favorite park. I love all the parks, but Burnett Woods, and for many, many reasons. So I'm just pleading with you to reconsider this huge chunk of money and the environment and the precious nature of Burnett Woods. And please nix Burnett Woods Dog Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Welcome.
My name is Dan Hadid, Emeritus Professor of Ecology, Xavier University. I began teaching there in 1968. You can probably tell I'm from Chicago. And when I came down here, my first job, I had to go out, find a place for field trips. And the nearest place I found to Xavier University was admittedly across from the University of Cincinnati, but it was Burnett Woods. It was unbelievable to me. I'm in Chicago, and we don't have a park anywhere near like that in the whole city of Chicago, folks. You have one here, and I hope you can keep it. Anyway, over the years, I took hundreds, thousands of students through Burnett Woods before I retired a few years ago. And I found out while I was there that there were always things that could happen for it to disappear. I have been in this room, and this is the 5th time I've been in this room. From the 5th floor. The first time we want to put a library in that woods. A library is a great public amenity. However, it doesn't belong in a woods. It's now across the street from the woods. That's where it belongs. They wanted to put a restaurant in the woods. That's good, but there are restaurants around Clifton. This board got rid of that restaurant. They wanted to put an art center in the woods. That's good. That's very nice public art. But now it's a half block away from Burnett Woods again on private property. It's amazing. I know woods are free, but if push comes to shove, people can find places for their needs. They have before, they will again. Not to mention a camping and canoeing group as well that this board invited to go somewhere else. They're now, by the way, very nicely ensconced down by the dog park in Armlater Park, where they take the kids without having to use valuable land in Burnett Woods. The only good thing I can see about this as an ecologist, as an educator, is if this goes in, the Naturalist and Trailside Museum will be able to take the visitors, take the students, walk them across the street and say, hey, this is how we can screw a park.
Thank you, Stan. That concludes our public comment. We do, in addition to this, receive public comments via our email address. Each week, the commissioners receive this, and we welcome your input, and we appreciate your engagement with and passion for the parks. So thank you. All right, let's see. We're going to move on to approval of the meeting minutes, or do we swear? Should we swear in John first? Okay, so let's move the order around here. We're going to swear in our new Commissioner, John Nyer. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kevin?
Would you like us?
If you want to place the oath there, you can stand at the podium there if you like.
All right, I'm gonna give you a cheat sheet. I'm gonna get glasses.
There you are, sir.
Give you a cheat sheet. Hold on, but I'll get that last. Say I, state your name.
I, John Nyer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
that I will uphold the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
and the charter, laws, and ordinances of the city of Cincinnati,
and the charter, laws, and ordinances of the city of Cincinnati,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
perform the duties of Commissioner of the Cincinnati Park Board,
perform the duties of Commissioner of the Cincinnati Park Board
to which I have been appointed according to law and to the best of my ability. Just everything else.
to which I've been appointed according to law and to the best of my ability.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We've got a search.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Well, as John is completing his duties, I would like to make a few comments about John and also outgoing Jim Getz. It's with great delight that I and we welcome you to this position. For the record, some of you know this and some of you don't. But it was my good thinking that got you involved in that seat over there when we learned that we would need an interim director. And I had to really rack my brain. Who would be available to take an interim post for 6 months or more to give us the time needed to really thoughtfully select our next director? It goes without saying that the park board has dealt with many tumultuous years. Which is a normal thing to do when an organization loses a prolific director like Willie was. It's hard to understand, what do we need in this role? How will this person be the same? How will this person be different? And we tripped a few times, and it was, I think, a great opportunity for you to do that. And I think it's probably safe to say the only commissioner that had the opportunity to serve as the director of parks for any.
Potentially so.
Any comments?
I've been passionate about parks for my entire life as a Cincinnatian, but developed a fully a more fully developed appreciation for the staff and the team that makes it happen in my time in that chair. And people always say, what's your favorite part? And I'm going to dodge that question like a politician and say, the best asset of the park system isn't any one particular piece of real estate. It's the team that brings it together and makes it happen. And I really got to understand that and appreciate that on a very personal level. So I'm delighted to be back with the group. So
Welcome,
thank you.
John. As thrilled as I am, and I know that we all are to have you here, it is also with sadness that we say farewell to Jim Getz, who I'll say dutifully served the park board for a very long time and for the past couple of years as its president. What you see here at these meetings is part of what Jim does, but the rest of what he does is really behind the scenes. He spent tremendous time with me, and I know with other commissioners, to bring us up to speed on so many of the interworkings of the parks, history of, we come here and there's so much for us to understand and know. He provided individual orientations for each of us, and I know has been a really big part of making Jason's transition into this role the success that it has been. I've only been on the board for 3 years, so I only saw half of what Jim saw, but the tumult that I spoke of, Jim was here through all that. And it takes a lot of fortitude and courage to get through some of the challenges that the park board has experienced. So I'd like to just you to settle into your seats for a minute and let me talk about what's been accomplished over the past 6 years under Jim's leadership. Starting back in mid-2018, we opened Alt Park Commons. We partnered with AARP to bring new fitness equipment to Hoffner Park in Northside. We opened our first multi-use trail in Mount Airy in partnership with Cora. That continues on today with Bike Skills, which is in our package this week. We renovated Westwood Town Hall Park. We renovated Hyde Park Square. We opened Kyle Plush Pavilion in Stanberry Park. We opened the new section of Smale Park, allowing the construction of the new Icon Music Center. We opened Tom Jones Commons. We built universally accessible the PNC playground in Inwood Park. We renovated the Sawyer Point Pickleball and Tennis Complex. We welcomed the Ezard Charles statue and plaza to Ezard Charles Park. We opened Walnut Woods of Evanston in collaboration with the community in Walnut Hills High School. We hoisted the newly restored historic arch at Rawson Woods Bird Preserve 100 years after its initial installation. We replaced the wolf statue in Eden Park in collaboration with the Sons and Daughters of Italy. We renovated Lytle Park thanks to a partnership with Western and Southern. We developed and approved the biochar project. We relocated the DNR staff to the newly renovated Ludlow Avenue headquarters. I'm almost done. So in financial improvements, we overhauled our budgeting and accounting practices. We created an investment committee to actively manage the various parks, endowments, trusts, and restricted funds supporting the parks. In all that, we navigated the COVID-19 crisis and kept parks and programs operational at a time of great need and amidst challenges and during a great shortage in parks. We created Parks' first division of natural resource management to protect and preserve our natural assets. And we raised Cincinnati's overall tree canopy 5% in just 5 years, from 38 to 43%. And completed a first inventory of 30,000 parks trees. We increased our social media followers 52% to almost 150,000 strong. We were recognized as the third best parks and rec agency in the US for social media. And we dedicated more resources to a streamlined volunteer program, which last year saw almost 5,000 volunteers rack up more than 40,000 hours. So there's a lot to celebrate here. It feels like so much work to do and what needs to get done. And I hope that everyone here enjoyed the opportunity of a look back. Everyone in this room, for the most part, has participated in this success. And Jim had a big hand in that. So thanks to Jim, and as I said, his leadership these past couple of years and his partnership with those of us on this board. All right, let's keep moving on to business here. We have to elect officers. I dug up the park board rules, and what the rules say is that April is the time when we elect officers. There are 2 officers on the park board, the president and the vice president. When a vacancy is created, as one has been created, then we have a special election. I would like to ask for a motion for a special election for the president and the vice president, which is the role I currently sit in. And then I'd also like to ask for a motion that allows us a rule change, which will allow this election to extend to the April annual election, meaning we will make one election of our president and vice president with this meeting that will extend until April 2025.
So
Anyone
moved.
is welcome to make a motion.
Can you-
Yes, okay, thank you.
And
Thank
before you
Susie.
go on, I've got to say, welcome aboard, John. Nice to
Thank you
see
so
you
much.
again. Nice to have another left-handed person on the board.
Thank you. We're in our right minds together.
There we go.
I'm surrounded by left-handed people, but good to know another one. So what did you move there, Susie?
Well,
What
whatever
was
you
your
wanted,
motion?
whatever
What's
you
that?
wanted. That we extend the term of office through 25 until 25, correct?
All right, we'll take that as a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, and we'll do a roll call.
Commissioner North,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyers.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Now we move to election of officers for president and for vice president. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We actually have to elect the president.
We need a nomination.
We need a nomination.
I nominate Molly North as president.
Thank you, Kik. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, let's do a roll call on that.
Commissioner North,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyers.
Yes.
Okay. And now we will make a motion for vice president, and I nominate Kik Lee.
I second.
And let's roll call.
President North,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyers.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Good there. It's with great honor that I serve in this capacity, and I'm excited about the next 13 months. So, okay, let's see, what is next here? I think we're on to business, we're on as a business.
Yeah, I was gonna say CRC.
CRC. So it is required that we have one member of this board participate in representation of the Parks Board. Jim gets operated in that capacity for many years. Again, thank you for that, Jim. And I would like to nominate Kik to serve in that capacity.
I second.
Kik, do you accept?
Yes, I
Okay,
accept.
thank you. I feel that that should be part of the process.
Yes.
So these are volunteer
Yeah.
responsibilities, right?
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you for agreeing. All right, we'll take a roll call on that.
President North,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyers.
Yes.
Good idea, guys. Great choice.
Thank you. Okay, good. Well,
Absolutely.
I think we're finished with the business of the board. Now we can move on to all the important updates. And Joel, you are up. Thank you.
I think we have the minutes.
Oh, we have approval of the minutes. Okay, you'll have to do this with me almost every.
No worries.
Skipped over that. We move things around a bit. We do have approval of the February 15th minutes.
Should point out one typo that we discovered, and I must point out that it was eagle-eyed Commissioner Castellini that caught this, but on page 2, the 4th paragraph down, we needed to add a vice in front of President North. Appears we got ahead of ourselves, predicting the future. So one tiny amendment to add to the bottom of the second page of the minutes. paragraph.
Oh, the second page.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yep. So just if we could add that in. Commissioner Castellini pointed that out in our meeting the other night, and I forgot to get it updated in time.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
Right here. Okay, great. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second?
All right, let's roll call that.
President Nora? Yes. Vice President Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini?
Yes.
Commissioner McCollum? Yes. Commissioner Nice?
Yes.
Oh, you're now up. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners, how are you all?
Well,
See you. In the interest of time, I'll keep mine brief today and just talk about the action items. But if you all have anything you want me to talk about otherwise that was in the packet, please just let me know and we'll talk about anything you want to. 4 items for you today, 3 of which are in the packet, one of which I think Jason and Molly just found out. I only found about it yesterday, so I know there wasn't a whole lot of time to prep, so I apologize that it's not in the packet. The first one I have is potential award of the biochar mechanical and building design stuff we talked about last time. As you know, to connect all the components that you voted to approve last month, we need to do some things mechanically to make sure that it interacts with the mechanical system in the building. Cooling loops, all of that things, and the connectivity of the machines themselves also help us finalize the layout of those machines. The action with a pre-engineered metal building that we're going to put on top, basically as simple as we can make it to cover the equipment and protect that is what we're after. We're not trying to build anything crazy to house this industrial equipment. We had 2 very good proposals, 3 total proposals, one of which didn't meet the requirements. The 2 top ones were very, very close. We are recommending CT Consultants be the one. We actually did a RFP for this, so that's already been through the city process and through purchasing review team yesterday. All that was approved. So from the city manager's standpoint, we've met everything we need to do to enter into a contract negotiation with CT Consultants. The total price, including $7,500 in geotechnical borings, is $157,800, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm not in that spot.
page 10 of our package.
Thank you, Molly. Appreciate that. Yep, $157,390 to CT, and that does include $7,500 in geotechnical boring. So we are recommending that you all allow us to enter into contract negotiations with them, and that be the maximum price. Do you all have any questions about that or what that entails?
You need a affirmative approval for them.
Mhm.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Great, and we'll take a roll call.
President Nora?
Yes.
Vice President Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini?
Yes.
Commissioner McCollum? Yes. Commissioner Nice?
Yes.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you all. The next 2 I'll do together, if that's all right. They basically are dealing with the same thing. As you're well aware, the zoo is doing some awesome upgrades to the solar coverings of some of their parking lots and stormwater retention. At the zoo, we own that land, but don't really manage anything on top of it for the most part. Anytime they need to do an easement or come in underground to do anything, though, the board has to approve that. There are 2 easements that are before you today, one for Vine Street, 3400 Vine Street, and the other one is on Drury. At 3489 Drury Avenue. Essentially, both of these easements are just to allow them to update electrical infrastructure necessary to capture this solar energy that they're doing. We don't maintain anything as the park board on top of that right now. Nothing is going to impact any of our operations. Essentially, they're just digging up the ground to put in these transformers that they need to allow them to harness the electric that they're putting in for the solar stuff. So no real long-term implications for either property. Just had to bring this before you because it's an easement. So do you all have any questions in that? So I think you have to approve both of these. We roll call, change these easements.
Individually or jointly?
I think you have to do them individually. I guess I would ask first for recommendation, the energy easement for the Cincinnati Zoo at 3400 Vine Street.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
President North,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes,
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyer.
Yes.
Thank you. And now we move to 3489 Drury Avenue.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
The next photo down.
Kick made a motion to approve.
Second.
President North,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
yes,
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyer.
Yes.
Thank you, commissioners.
Yep.
We'll get that stuff back to law and enacted.
Great.
The last one I have is the one I alluded to that's wasn't on the agenda. I just found out essentially yesterday. So as you know, you approved, I believe in December, or January to move forward with well cleaning and pump purchase for the Smale Riverfront Park geothermal system that powers and cools and heats the Anderson Pavilion and the Christian Moorline Logger House. Essentially, 2 of the 4 pumps that we have are down, and all 4 of the wells that are deep and pull in essentially water that is used to heat up non-contact water that then goes to heat buildings. We're working to restore that right now. It hasn't been cleaned as it should be since it's been put in. We're getting all that back in order. You all approved that 2 months ago. We're working through the purchasing process, and before we can get everything enacted, the equipment prices have went up $5,500. So I'm coming back to you to ask today because I know that was above $50,000 to begin with. I'm asking you for another $5,519.80 to do the exact same thing that we were trying to do 30 days ago. So that brings the total of that project to $178,592.30.
Well, Joel, you've done a great job at giving, when you put these through for approval, a small contingency, and I know on this one we did not.
Yes, ma'am.
So this illustrates the reason you've been coming for with.
Exactly.
So
Exactly that, Commissioner.
does anyone have any questions on this increase? $5,500 additional approval? Do we have a motion or any questions?
so moved.
Second.
All right, well, roll call.
President North,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes,
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyer.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate that. I just want to plug our new CFO right off the bat. She's already helping me with these kind of things. How to best do that so we don't run into these situations and have to come back twice. We don't want to waste your time. You know, we understand every cent matters, but we know.
Joel, I can't even count up how much time you've saved this commission. So you're deep in the green here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That is all the action items I have this month. Would you all like any updates? Or do you have any questions on any of the other things I've had or any things in the parks?
You've written a very comprehensive report. Anything anyone would like to bring for discussion this month?
just a thank you, just another thank you for such a great report.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that. Thank you all. Have a great day.
The only piece I might mention while Joel's here is just with Lytle Park, everything's moving forward really quickly. And as our resident Lytle Park inspector can attest, the sidewalks coming in very quickly. After our meeting the other day, I stopped by and talked to the guys as they were working on the sidewalk. And everything's going really quickly. I think we'll see that sidewalk finished by, if not the end of this week, then early next week. And then the light poles are coming in right after that. We just had another night of freezing weather overnight, so we can't turn the fountain on yet, but we're slowly moving towards getting that fountain on this spring. And I think it's fair to say here that we are targeting, and it is, I think, basically locked in an April 26th grand opening of Lytle Park. And so those listening at home and those in the audience, if everybody could mark your calendars for an April 26th mid-morning grand opening of Lytle Park. It's going to be spectacular. It's been a long time coming, and I think everybody's going to really enjoy it. So
Absolutely.
Yep, Bruce is hot on it. They're testing irrigation. You all see that in the next couple of weeks too. Just getting all the lines clear, making sure everything doesn't have any leaks before we turn over things and punch list and stuff. So yep, Lytle's rolling towards the finish finally.
Well, our favorite topic, is there any update of significance on the boat dock?
I do not have one.
So I do. There was a public comment period. The Army Corps summarized those comments and sent them over to us to provide responses back to the Army Corps. They're now synthesizing those responses based upon the comments, and we're expecting to hear back from them here in the next little bit.
Great. Great. Excellent.
As soon as he turns us loose, we will then coordinate with BNI to make sure everything on the city side, like inspection wise and compliance, all the regulations are met there. So we're not holding anything up there as well. So wait on the Army Corps for that one.
I'll say it's also exciting to see the bike skills course project advance as well.
Can't wait.
That's a big one.
We just, thanks to Jenny's help, we have our survey equipment on the way. So we should be getting that in the next 6 weeks. We're going to do that one in-house to ensure ADA compliance, basically from the loop at Area 23 back to the comfort station and then on back to the pavilion. There's already money set aside for those two components in association with the bike skills course. So as they're doing that design build, we're going to come in first, make sure all of the elevations are met so that a wheelchair can essentially come from that parking lot all the way back to the end. The grades we know will work already, but we're going to do that one in-house. And the money's already been set aside by Park Board Commission. So we have about 200,000 towards those two, renovating the comfort station and getting access back to those areas so that people can see everything that's going on at the bike skills course.
We had a kickoff meeting with Cora, who's been our partner on this, and the foundation maybe 3 weeks ago, where we all kind of sat down. The project manager for this project is a gentleman by the name of Matt Schiller, who's on our team, and you probably hear his name from time to time. On Joel's team, he'll be the project manager for that, and we're quickly moving forward on that one. So really exciting.
What's the anticipated construction start and completion date? That's what everybody wants to know. When can they use this course?
So for our two pieces, we anticipate having that design done. I don't know that we'll get to it this fall, but those two precursors will certainly be working towards having design done this year. As far as the Cora piece of that, I'm not 100% certain on the funding,
But we've heard, so two things. One is we're working off of a 2019, I believe, design and budget estimate. So hopefully it's close to that, but hopefully is a bold term in this seat. But what we've heard is that mountain bike design and construction is such a hot commodity right now that the companies that do it and do it well have a backlog. So piece one will be getting that design done, talking to the community, kind of updating the plans, making sure everything's good, making sure we have all of the funding in place. And then once we have all that approved, there'll come a point, we're hoping this year we'll be able to bring that back for you with a solid budget and to award to a company. And then we'll find out when they can fit us into their busy schedule. So there could be some delays, but we're full speed ahead on getting to Company X is awarded the project and this is the budget for it. And then we will know kind of exactly when they're ready to do the work.
and the supplementary projects I mentioned, we're hoping to have those done and kind of set so that that influences, so we have the ADA guidelines already set and the bike course can then kind of, I don't know that they design build this, but that in that arena, that certainly is possible and done for many in the industry. So we want to at least have our hard line set first to that side.
So if my question got answered, I missed it because I got wrapped into what you're saying. When are we expecting the construction to start and be?
You won't know until we select a company to do it. And then what we're hearing is that the companies that do this kind of work have long lead times. So it's possible that we might select a company late this year, but then that company will say, cool, we can build it for you in 2025, 2026. We'll find out when we select the company, but we don't know that until we select the company.
Okay.
And that might even be a factor in selecting.
I'm in the business of establishing expectations. So are we talking about ideally we could, if we hired someone and they could start in 60 days, would we be able to deliver this in 2025?
Yep.
If the company could do it, yeah.
If they were doing the design build on that portion of it, the things that we have to interact with them are not that difficult. It's going to take my team a week to do the design. Chris and his team of the architects are going to do the renovations to the comfort station and the roof of the pavilion. So that stuff can be done in-house, likely under the TPA. So that, that at this point, that comfort saves us having to do a lot of specification on that portion of it. We're going to specify the ADA walkway back to the shelters ourselves. I will do that and stamp those as necessary. So our two pieces of it, we're certainly going to have ready this year and try to build this year. To Jason's point, we don't know what those design folks will be able to do on that end. My guess is you're going to get it in 2025 with us having established that hard edge at the end of this year. So you're going to get our two projects finished and renovated by the end of this year to give them kind of the blank canvas to start that final process for the skills course. Spring of 25 would be my pending funding, of course.
Seems like these companies would be design build.
Many of them are.
Many of them are.
Yes.
Does it make sense? I'm just thinking from a timing perspective to do an RFQ which we learned all about RFQs versus RFPs with the boat dock, to do an RFQ and identify a contractor that's best suited for the project.
We certainly can do that as directed.
It's also possible, since this project's relying heavily upon donor funds, that we might be able to
Source of work.
select a donor or select a contractor based upon the preference of the donors. So we have multiple options to try to keep this thing moving forward as quickly as possible. And we're at this point right now where after the kickoff meeting, Cora is back to some of the folks they use to help develop the plans to kind of, all right, we're ready to go, and get them wound back up. And
And they
then
have quite a bit about
exactly.
the right matches for this.
And they were the ones that told us that they're seeing in other cities around the country, these timing delays. After you hire them, they're like, all right, well, we've got these 30 projects in front of you. So, but
Well, that's what can be good about design build is they get engaged in the project sooner and you're in their queue along with your design process. So just some things to think about as you progress. Let us know how we can.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that. One thing to add to that, Dave Nash of purchasing and I are, we talk quite a bit just over many, many projects, but he just actually sent me some guidelines yesterday on design build and how that applies to the city and the city as a supplement to the ODOT code or Ohio code. So I'm going to read that stuff and see if there's anything we can do to expedite that process. But getting into that design build stuff we wanted to do since I started here, I think I talked to you about that, Commissioner Nyer. So we're ready to do those things. I'm happy to help with that RFP process.
Yeah, this is an ideal design build project. You're not going to be designing the things I see in these pictures. I don't think.
That's right.
So.
Awesome. Will do.
Any other questions for Joel about projects in the works?
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
I should point out to Commissioner Castellini, just in case you can't fully make it out, but Joel's wearing a Cincinnati Reds tie today. So he's got opening day fever here in City Hall, here at the park board.
He's got a red cup. He's got red shoes. He's got red.
I saw his shoes. Oh, bless your heart.
All right, we're up. You're up, Derek. Please join us.
I'll make it quick. Afternoon.
This afternoon, this is our HR update.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please, can I say thank you to Derek and Sherry and your team? We have 2 new folks starting in the next 3 weeks overall, both of them administrative folks that will greatly help expedite many, many requests and things that people are waiting on me for. So thank you, Derek, to your team and Sherry and all the help that you gave us.
Thank you.
It was a few years ago, Derek and Bill and Jenny. We were just stuck. We were stuck on being able to get so much move forward, and it was 100% all about people, having the right people, having enough people, and then having resources for those people to get their jobs done. So
I feel like I've been lucky because you definitely hired some rock stars.
as they say in fishing, there is no luck.
Definitely a lot of
No luck. It's about persistence and fortitude, and you brought that.
Like you said, execution.
Yeah.
You better add courage.
So I'll give a quick, like he said, we have 2 people starting in planning and design. We have Kate now in the administrative office. We have that grant writer that we've been waiting on. That's going to be starting within the next couple of weeks. I'm really excited about that one, obviously. Hedda is here. She's awesome. She's had to consume a lot of information in a very short amount of time. And we have John Harmon, who is a special projects person in natural resources. So we have a lot of project managers that's going to continue to help us be more efficient and move some things forward. Got some great news, a florist list, so that we have about 5 vacancies florists that we'll be filling. That list will be in commission April 4th. So that's going to knock out a huge chunk of vacancies that we have. We have about 3 maintenance crews really vacant. We've been waiting on those classifications to move through, and also the service area coordinator. As of today, an hour before we got here, I got approval to add those to commission on the 4th.
Civil Service Commission.
Civil Service Commission. So that's great news for me because I've been waiting for a while. So that between just those 3 classifications, we'll have about 10 vacancies that'll be moving forward within the next month or 2. So that's huge. Computer system analyst, that's one of those positions that we had to repost. We only had 22 applicants. only interviewed a couple of people. We reposted it. And thanks to the CEV team, we went from 22 to 72 applications, 36% increase.
What's the CEV team?
Okay.
Communications, engagement, and volunteers.
Yeah, so they did a lot of great marketing and they can speak better to what they did.
Okay, great.
But they took it and ran with it and really helped us increase the applicant pool. So we'll have interviews within the next week or two. And we have probably a good dozen that we'll be looking at. And overall, we have about 15 vacancies. And that number will continue to go up and down because as we fill, some of those are promotions. It'll open up some additional vacancies. But I feel really good about where we are now because a lot of key roles that have been vacant for a while are finally being filled. And I do want to give kudos to the HR team. Those two ladies, I thought my onboarding process was decent, but they've taken it to a whole nother level. I mean, they're responding quickly. They're moving things through. They have their own system that they've created themselves. So I want to give Sherry and Brittany Sparks a clap because they're helping us. You don't see them in these meetings, but they're here.
I should point out that 15 vacancies currently is the lowest I think it's been in my 18 months on one of Derek's reports. And that is despite the fact that we've added several positions to our TO over the last year and a half. So we continue to work it down, even though we continue to add more positions. And so I'm really excited to see if we can get into the single digits in the next 2 months with these new positions moving forward.
So, I mean, most importantly, I think the real HR work is starting. We're doing a lot of employee engagement. We're doing staff social office hours where they can come in and get assistance. Our part-timers, most importantly, to provide them with resources to hopefully become full-time or whatever else they need. And you'll see more information coming out on that SharePoint hub where we'll have a lot of information that they can go to. CV questions. So we're just doing a lot of that work and engaging with staff and connecting them back with what we do here. Now, instead of focusing just on staffing. So I'm excited.
It's great.
That's pretty much it. Now, we'll be doing a turnover analysis. That gets into the data and trying to figure out like who will be leaving, who will be leaving, retiring, or be eligible to retire to kind of plan for those classifications. And maybe we'll have an opportunity to be proactive and plan for those divisions and what would we like for that to look like in the future. And we can be a little bit more strategic instead of reactive as these vacancies pop up. We have about 3 people in natural resources in 3 key positions that are retiring this year around June and August, from June to August. And now we can kind of plan to either double fill so that whoever replaces them can kind of learn what they do. We can kind of keep everything moving. Maybe figure out what that division will look like. So that's what I mean about the real HR work, making sure we're a little bit more efficient here.
So you talked about this engagement initiative and people wanting more communication.
They want information.
That's right. Everybody does. Everybody wants to know what's going on, what's the priority, who's doing what, celebrations for success. And I'm glad to see you're starting some initiatives here. I think another opportunity is maybe doing some surveying to figure out what do people want to know about. I know within our company, you have it.
We took a survey, we had a survey go out last October, and this is us acting, these are all from what they've communicated through that survey.
Okay. So what do they want to know about?
They want to know about promotional opportunities, not just in parks, but citywide. And so at that staff social, I had printouts that show them how to complete job interest cards on their profile. So anytime a vacancy citywide is available, they'll get notified by email. It's just little things that we can do that's very simple that we know that we're not aware that they don't know how to do.
Oh, I see. It's great.
How about educational opportunities?
Yeah, so currently Parks does have like tuition reimbursement for people who want to further their education. And that's going to kind of be part of our Parks Academy. As we kind of build, first right now we're focused on safety, but we'll add to that for like how can employees kind of grow in areas that they don't work in currently. And I know previously they had a very robust Parks Academy program. And right now we just haven't had the ability to get it to where it was, but that's always the goal. Soft skills, some hard skills, just basic Excel, Microsoft Word, some of those things we don't think about that a lot of people would like to be educated on that will hopefully allow for them to apply for those clerk positions that's available all the time. They're always posting it in admin positions that's available all the time. How can they go to Cincinnati State, get those credit hours? Because a lot of those classifications have actually expanded to be more available to more people. So for example, it doesn't require a full associate's degree. It might require 30 credit hours and a couple years of experience, which more people will have. So we're trying to put those people in a better position to apply.
It's exciting to see Derek dig into this so much. I think the first social that Derek talked about was this Monday morning at 7 a.m. So kind of when people first are coming on shift, and we had a great turnout, and it's something that means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to the board. Molly, you and I have talked about it. President North several times we've talked about it, and it's something that, you know, a year and a half in, I'm really excited to kind of roll our sleeves up and dig into it more. As you can see, you know, Derek became fully staffed, I think last July or August, and already in just 8 or 9 short months, you're seeing how with the full staff, his team's able to really start to dig into this stuff. And I think the sky's the limit from here. So we're really excited we know we have a good culture. It was one of the things that former interim director Nair told me about when I was applying, was how great the team was here. We know we've got a great culture, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot of opportunity to celebrate that greatness, make people feel even more a part of it, and kind of continue to, you know, anything you're not working on is going to start to get stale. And so we want to make constantly working on, not just resting on, it's parks, we got a great culture, but making sure we're continually engaging, learning, and growing that. So.
Yeah, and put some tasks to the lip service of it too.
Absolutely.
I know that we were doing like a monthly newsletter for a period of time. Is that still happening?
That was coming from the CEB team. I know HR, they've created like some documents for us to send out monthly as far as communication items. That goes out to all staff with our own like kind of HR related items. But I don't know. I guess that's something.
Yeah, we are working on SharePoint, so we would like to continue these monthly communications via the shared SharePoint site. So that's a project that's being led between HR and
That's the SharePoint hub I was speaking to earlier.
Do people use that hub?
Yeah, I mean,
Do
so yeah, part of it is to make sure that they have the ability, even some of those field workers.
That's right.
To access it. It's a lot. So we're trying to get like computer stations at each location because currently they use their manager's computer. They might not have access. And also we're adding 2 computers up in central HR.
It will take into consideration if there's employees who can't access the information and see if there's alternative routes to communicate.
Like marketing material. We've created some like, even for positions that's available, we've created like information cards that we can send out to them so they can see it, feel it. But we'll think about different ways to communicate to everybody the information they need, not just a group.
Well, as you're talking about nowadays, the HR teams and the communication teams work very closely together, because a lot of our communication is about communicating internally. And if we can effectively communicate internally, usually it means our external communication is also effective. So.
This SharePoint, like you said, it's a platform for staff to access.
Yeah, it's a Microsoft platform.
Okay.
And we can kind of make our own parks page that they can see all the visions of what we're working on.
Okay, because I think, wow, I can't believe I'm saying, when I worked at Radio Shack, we had something similar. When you clock in, you literally got like, it's like the Yahoo looking kind of page, news, what's going on, achievements, who's the biggest ticket in the region. Things like that.
Intranet.
Yeah, exactly. I really like stuff like that. So it's just nice to know that something like that within this group.
And over the last couple of months, me and Sarah from the CV team have actually been going early, 7 o'clock in the morning, to actually go out there with the staff, see what they do. And we're recording, taking video to kind of put some stuff out there to kind of educate internal people and external people on what those jobs look like. So it's kind of like twofold. We can connect with staff, talk to them, but also hopefully recruit, get people a little bit knowledgeable about the position to increase the applicant pool. And I like it a lot because I've been able to figure out like what these jobs look like, what are the need of the employees that I would never know, either through survey that they won't provide. So it's been fun.
That's good. Great. I love it. You want to get out in the field too. You don't want to be the office guy that people call Mr. White Shoes. Bad reputation.
I got boots in my office that I.
That's right. Good. I love it. Anything else, Derek? Anything for Derek?
It's awesome. Yeah.
Great job.
You got like short reports or more detailed? Battle between jumping so much in there. Maybe I'll have some add-on. I'll have some add-ons that you guys can always look at to see what's going on, but the highlights are.
I have an affinity for a one pager myself, but
Okay.
sometimes it can't be done, but
Okay.
very difficult, isn't it, Joel?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I love it.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. See, I think we've gotten through the first three action items and we're on to the operating budget.
Yep. So the city's operating budget process kicks off in January. And it kicks off internally when we start to have meetings with our team to review last year's budget and get ready for our submission for this year's budget. This year in January, we did not have a CFO. And so our CFO started in February. So we were a little bit behind the 8 ball as we got moving forward. But had to jumped in with both feet and figured out the process and was able to get all the training she needed and communicate with the budget and finance office to get all of our stuff ready and submitted. The way the process works is they generally give us some guidelines and some targets to hit based upon last year's budget, along with, as it says in kind of this first paragraph under summary, some cost of living adjustments and some non-salary expense adjustments. And they give us targets to hit that we then have to kind of make all of our stuff line up for. We developed the budget and everything this year. There aren't any major cuts in the budget. And so we were able to kind of move everything forward the same as it had been in the past, which reflects those first 2 paragraphs of the budget recommendation, again, under summary. And then excuse me, we did have to do what they call a budget cutting exercise. And so they asked us to, what would you do if you had to cut 15% from the the income tax infrastructure fund 302. That fund is almost exclusively personnel. And so last year we were able to propose that if we had to, we could keep 2 positions vacant for a full year. However, this year, those positions are full, so that wasn't an option. We would have required us to move folks into other funds. But we did have part-time positions that we could keep vacant. And so that's what we've proposed as our for the exercise. Obviously, we're hopeful that those are not taken into account in the city manager's budget. And we've laid out in here kind of what that would mean for the park system if we were not able to hire about $287,000 worth of part-time staff. That would be a severe impact on our ability to deliver service throughout the busiest months of the year. And throughout the budget process with the city manager level, the mayor level, and then city council level, we'll be fighting to make sure we keep those dollars. Which then there's an opportunity in the budget submission process to submit exemptions or exemption. I'm gonna stutter on that, but now I can't even say it, but basically exemptions, basically requests of what would you like to add to the budget. And so we've proposed 2 different budget requests. The first one is a second shift for our riverfront parks, which include Sawyer Point, Yateman's Cove, and Smale. Currently, we're staffed with florists and laborers and the managers of them for a morning shift. And they come in at 6:30 in the wintertime and leave at 2:30 or 3 o'clock. And in the summer, because it gets so hot, they come in at 6 o'clock and leave at 2:30. And this, give or take events, the park is then kind of come and use it as you will, which is how most of our parks work. However, Smale, Riverfront Park, and Sawyer Point and Yateman's Cove just get so many visitors. And there have been several hot button issues that happened last year with people in the park after hours. And we've had a lot of intense community conversation, both with the city administration, with the police department, and with the Banks Community Authority, that we were looking at what can we do to get more presence down there, right? This is our busiest park. It is the front door to the region. And so we've proposed adding a service crew leader and 2 laborers to those parks that would allow us to have a second shift, not a big one, but a second shift that would be eyes and ears. They would be picking up litter, emptying trash, doing the normal cleanup and mowing and trimming that we normally do. They'd be able to do special projects, power washing, all the stuff that we normally do, but for longer parts of the day. But they'd also be eyes and ears, people that if park visitors could go up to and be like, excuse me, do you work for the parks? Like, I need to report this, or can you show me where that's at? Or can you help me with this? So we think it would really increase the touch points and the experience for our visitors to Smale Park. And then the second one is a purchasing coordinator. As we talk about every month, purchasing at the city is very difficult. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of regulations, but there are also just a lot of options. There are a lot of contracts that other departments might use that we might not use. every one of our contracts and purchases and agreements have different start dates, term ends, conditions, all these things. If we had a single person that we would have in head of shop or the CFO's shop, that would allow all of our team to kind of coordinate with the central person that would become very fluent in speaking procurement needs and be able to communicate back and forth with them and make sure that they just have one spreadsheet that was coordinating everything and was kind of on top of everything. We think it would make these meetings feel a lot smoother and quicker because so much more stuff would just be happening under like smooth level. And talking to other department directors, this is a problem citywide. Purchasing is just very complex in a government system like ours. And so we think it'd be a huge increase in our productivity and our ability to deliver services, projects to the community. So those are our two exemptions. We will be working with, again, the city manager, the mayor and council to try to get these funded in this budget. The process now is that we, with your approval, will have submitted our official budget request. It then goes to the city manager and the finance team and their kind of review team to develop what that budget will be. Sometime in May, the city manager will release that budget to the mayor. The mayor then has, I think, 10 days to review the budget, make any changes he wants to make to it. And then he submits it to city council, and then they have about a month-long process to hold budget hearings and do some review of that before they pass the final budget, generally in the end of June. With that, I'll answer any questions about our budget submission.
Are there other departments in the city that have a procurement specialist position?
There are a couple that do. I know MSD might even have a couple, but a bigger department. And
I think it's a great idea. I was just thinking of the likelihood of being able to get it through. If you can point to other departments who have used it to great effect, I think that would be.
That's a good point.
Wonderful.
That is to be, the procurement position, I think, is the most important thing that you've just said. And so I wonder, if they won't give us the money from the city, can we find it someplace else? Not that I want to, but you see where I'm going. I don't want to give up that idea.
I think that's an absolutely great question, Commissioner Castellini. The way the process works is the city will pass the budget in June, and hopefully they will fund this. But then we will pass the commissioner's fund budget in August. And that would be an opportunity for us to make adjustments based upon what the city funds. And so that could be an option we take if we aren't fortunate enough to convince council and the mayor of this priority.
Okay. The other concern I have is losing the part-time workers. If indeed we do have to cut that 15%, that is just a terrible idea. And so I'm concerned about finding another road to keep the part-time workers in-house.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other input or questions for Jason?
I got one just to add to his point about the procurement specialist. I know I spend 40% of my time thinking about procurement, thinking about these rules. I'm a professional engineer. I'm supposed to be thinking about bridges. Putting one person that could take that, both help our project managers, help Crystal and her team, because they get a whole bunch of stuff, help Lou and his team as they get things for events. It's invaluable to have that person. And if we could have one expert in this whole system of 150 people, that would be my guess too. Like what we're lacking the most, that would make an immediate impact on everybody else across the board. So I agree with both of you that that is one of the biggest priorities we have left. So my 2 cents worth price charge. I'll shut up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. We have acceptance of a grant.
We do need to vote officially to make this the submission of.
Oh, we do?
Yes.
Okay,
If we could.
that's an action item. Okay, then I will entertain a motion.
Move for adoption of the recommended budget.
Seconded.
Roll call?
President Norick,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on then to Liberty Gardens.
So this is a annual thing we do. Kate, if you could pull up the photo. I actually wasn't totally sure where this was, so we pulled up a photo of it so we could all see exactly where this is.
Doesn't look familiar.
It is across from Twin Lakes, but it is where that green dot is in the middle. It's kind of right in front of that apartment building there. I'm sorry. It is right here. So it's actually a part of the Eden Park I'd never been to. You come around St. Paul, I've driven by it, it's kind of up a hill a little bit. But it's a new garden. It's I guess not super old. But the condo that is right near there, every year they make a donation to the foundation in order to take care of that garden, keep it looking nice and do all the horticulture there. And then the foundation then grants that to us and we hire the company that the condominium prefers to maintain that. And so this is something that we do once a year to accept $6,708.70 to plant this beautiful garden.
Great.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Paul?
President Norris,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes.
Commissioner McCollum, yes, Commissioner Knapp.
Yes.
Terrific. Jason, your comment.
Excellent. I should point out that our basketball team, the Parks basketball team participated in the citywide department basketball challenge. And Derek was our captain on this, along with Ray Slater from our finance team and Andrew Clark from our communication engagement and volunteers team. And they were fantastic. They got second place. They fought a spirited contest. They made the Final Four. In fact, they beat one team in the run up to it 40-3.
Whoa.
But as you can see, they were really good and super impressive. Unfortunately, the way they did the tournament 2 Monday nights ago was that it was a Final Four, and the team that eventually won, the fire department, played the first game, and then we played a hard-fought game against Recreation in the second Final Four game. But then there was a very short turnaround until the final game. And so we only had about 10 or 15 minutes of rest. And our team fought valiantly, fell behind a little bit, then came back with about an 8-0 run at the end to get it close. But then unfortunately, hustling for a steal, fire department got an easy bunny to win the thing and get to 41st. But it was the best performance that, I've only been here 18 months, but from what I hear, it's the best performance in a competition that Parks has had in anyone's memory. And so all compliments go to this amazing team for their
He led the team again. Real Renaissance man.
Yep.
It's amazing. A man of many talents. I love it.
Did the fire department use ladders?
But they did a really great job. We all came out to support them. They had probably about 8 to 10 people there cheering them on, and they just did a great job. Next photo, it's Women's History Month. And the city manager had a photo that was taken on down at City Hall to highlight some of our folks. So pictured here, we've got Corey Carswell at the Riverfront, Lisa Givens at Crone, Rachel Rice in Explore Nature, and Angie Carlos from the West District, Ann Ullman in Green Space. Is there another photo maybe? Crystal Johnson and the volunteers team, Megan Tagg Johnson, Emma Wilson, and Nicole Greenwood from the West District. So just great to celebrate our awesome female staff members. So yay.
All right.
Terrific.
Ann's down there at Fountain Square, I think where that photo is, and they were at Fountain Square today changing out the displays. And so as a downtown resident, if anybody gets a chance to drive by Fifth Street, the Fountain Square display is going to be looking good today, I guarantee. Volunteer events. So volunteer events always pick up big time right around now. Alms Park Allies is doing their invasive removal beautification March 23rd, which is this Saturday, and April 6th. Walnut Woods of Evanston are doing a big project with Walnut Hills High School, March 23rd and April 13th. Mount Airy Reforestation Day events and community leaders with UC students on Sunday, March 24th. Again, this Sunday and April 14th. On April 6th, we have events happening in all California Woods and French Park. And Saturday, April 13th, Scarborough Woods is doing some volunteer events. So just as we mentioned, volunteer events happening everywhere. Such a great part of how parks are maintained is this, our wonderful volunteers, and a lot's happening.
Mhm.
All park cherry blossoms are in bloom. This is a short period of time, but one of the more beautiful things in our parks. So if anybody gets a chance to head over there, it is time to catch it before it's done. My brother tried to get married in front of cherry blossoms and missed it by a week. Not here at Alt Park, but somewhere else. But you got to get out while it's there.
Yeah.
Early this year.
Yes, it is.
Weeks.
So we're partnering with this Parks Foundation to do quarterly meetings with our CPACs, our Cincinnati Park Advisory Councils. We had one about a month and a half ago, and the next one is tonight. So it'll be at the Ted Barrett International Friendship Park Pavilion from 5 to 7. It's another way we're trying to engage our CPACs, keep them aware of what's going on here. Solar Eclipse Fund. So everybody's getting excited about the solar eclipse. The Cincinnati Observatory Center at Mount Airy on March 29th. We're partnering with them on March 29th in events to learn about eclipses and see why the April 8th eclipse will be different and safety tips for viewing it. Telescope Fest will be in Alt Park on March 23rd with local astronomer Dean Regis to demonstrate what types of equipment can be used to view the eclipse. And then the Great Eclipse in the Sky at Smales Schmidlap Lawn, which is an event on Monday, April 8th, right outside Moreland Lager House. It's going to have music, games, solar system display, and special eclipse viewing glasses that were purchased with support from our friends at the foundation. I'll be making a presentation to the City Budget Committee about our budget presentation on April 1st. The annual Neighborhood Summit is on April 20th. Spring Fest at Burnett Woods, celebrating the 150th birthday of Burnett Woods, is also on April 20th. And then, as we talked about, the Lido Park grand opening on April 26th. So lots of exciting stuff is underway.
What time is the actual eclipse? I'm trying to remember what I've read.
I believe I read around 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Somebody that's got
Okay.
a phone in front of them to Google that and confirm it, but I believe it's in that
Okay.
1:30 to 3 range.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then I guess just my last comment, as a director, under director's comments, is I just want to officially say thank you to Jim Getz as well. Jim was incredibly generous with his time with me. I got to meet Jim a while back when we were putting a red bike station at the YMCA in downtown. And just like with everything he did at Parks, Jim rolled up his sleeves and as a board member met me on site to help make sure that happened and to kind of support that and help usher it through as a very active board member. And then when I was thinking about the possibility of applying to be on the park board, I reached out to Jim as well as yourself, President North, to talk about kind of the opportunity and what the park board was looking for. And he just couldn't have been kinder with his time and generosity. And then during the 18 months that I got to work with him, Jim was just absolutely a delight and was always there to take my phone call no matter what time of day and help me think through kind of the complex issues. And so Jim's been a real pleasure to work with. And so he'll be missed. But I also look forward to working with this great board as we move forward and have every confidence we're going to do awesome stuff. So thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
2:27 Eastern.
Commissioner Castellini, 2:27 Eastern.
3:35.
3:35 Eastern.
Excuse me, say that one more
April
time.
8th. It's 2:27 Cincinnati time until 3:25 Cincinnati time, 3:35 Cincinnati time.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Commissioner comments and discussion.
I would just want to say thank you so much for moving the time. God bless you all. And I would try and show you what I don't know if I can. Camelback. Can you see Camelback Mountain?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, there it is.
Otherworldly.
Yeah.
Can indeed.
And the
You can-
temperature is going to be 80 today.
You can host the next meeting. You host the next meeting.
Okay.
That's right. We'll come to you.
It'll be my pleasure. So thank you so much, everybody. And welcome aboard, John. Nice to have you back.
Thank you so much. I am glad to be here reunited with putting the band back together. And so I'm anxious to play a different instrument and appreciate the welcome words from everybody and will echo my appreciation for Jim's unrivaled brilliance in enormously complex matters. And I am standing on the shoulders of giants. So I am up to the challenge. And I just have to observe that your budget presentation is on April Fool's Day.
I'll point that out if they don't accept it.
So, but I'm glad to be with everybody here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm just saying, welcome, Commissioner Ryder. Thank you. Excited that you're here. Always excited to grow, excited to for myself to be in this new VP space role. as well as CRC. I've always had love and a lot of admiration and respect for CRC and Daniel Betts. Excited to be working alongside him and the other CRC commissioners there. And I just love Rex. But this basketball team, I'm just so upset. I'm all about that basketball. So yeah, I definitely will be at the next one. Yeah.
Wow. I'd like to say welcome to our new commissioner.
Thank you.
And thank you to our new officers who've stepped up and who've taken on these roles. And I also would like to share my appreciation to Jim Getz. From the time I found out that I was going to be on the commission, he reached out to me. He has always been extremely helpful, extremely available. I don't know anybody with more passion for the parks than Jim. And so I just want to thank him for all of his years of service and looking forward to the upcoming year.
It's great. Well, I can say certainly that you join at an outstanding time. I've been here for just over 3 years, and after the first year and then after the second year, I said, I thought I was going to be coming in here to work on trails. That's why I came to parks and for all the other reasons why I love parks. And there's just been so much to work through that has to do with governing this body. And the most important responsibility that we have is ensuring that we have a strong director in the seat who can build a strong team, who then we can support with the resources to continue to uphold one of the best park systems in the country. So that I would say it is time for us to spend even more time talking about trails and trees and renewing our historic assets, serving our citizens and the community that comes and visits us as a destination. So we have a lot of exciting work ahead. So I think we're in a great position as the park board to make significant impact with the staff here. So thank you.
Yes.
I think we have nothing else, no other business unless anyone would like to raise any. We have our next regular meeting on April 18th at 9 o'clock. So we'll see you all in about a month. Do I have motion to adjourn the meeting? Do we formally do that? So moved. Do we need to roll call it? No. All right.